A man wearing a $15,000 custom-tailored Italian suit walked confidently into Judge Judy's courtroom like he owned not just the building, but everyone working inside it. On his wrist was a Patek Philippe watch worth more than most people's houses. The kind of timepiece that catches the light and announces wealth before a single word is spoken. His handmade leather shoes, costing $3,000 a pair, clicked against the polished floor with the rhythm of absolute entitlement. Diamond cufflinks sparkled as he adjusted his silk tie, and he carried himself with the confidence of someone who had never heard the word no in his entire life. This man's name was Daniel Wellington III, as a hedge fund billionaire with a net worth of $3.2 billion. He owned penthouses in Manhattan, London, and Dubai. His private jet cost more than most hospitals, and his annual income exceeded the GDP of some small countries. He was there because he had physically shoved his elderly housekeeper down a flight of stairs, causing her to suffer a broken hip and a sprognestat. The reason for this violence was that she had dared to ask for her paycheck after 3 months of unpaid wages. Maria Gonzalez, a 67-year-old grandmother who had served Daniel faithfully for 8 years, now sat in a hospital bed because she requested the $18,000 she had rightfully earned. When paramedics arrived at Daniel's Manhattan penthouse, they found him on his phone complaining about incompetent help rather than showing concern for the injured woman bleeding on his marble floor. When police officers arrived to investigate, Daniel pulled out his wallet and offered them $50,000 in cash each to forget this misunderstanding. He actually said those words, "Forget this misunderstanding," as if assault and bribery were simple inconveniences that money could erase. He told the responding officers that he donated more to the police commissioner's charity in one night than they made in a year, as if charitable donations purchased immunity from criminal law. The officers arrested him anyway, shocked that anyone could be so brazen and so openly corrupt. Daniel laughed during his booking and asked if they accepted American Express for bail. He came to court thinking this was just another problem his wealth could solve. His team of 5 corporate attorneys, each billing $800 per hour, assured him that Judge Judy would be reasonable. Daniel even joked to his lawyers, asking how much this judge cost, as if judicial decisions were items on a menu that could be purchased with the right price. But what Daniel didn't understand, what his billions couldn't teach him, was that Judge Judy had spent 40 years on the bench handling entitled millionaires and billionaires who believed their bank accounts placed them above the law. She had never been impressed by financial statements, and she wasn't about to start now. However, Daniel made one catastrophic mistake in that courtroom. Something so shocking that even his own high-priced attorneys gasped in horror. He looked Judge Judy dead in the eyes and said words that would destroy his entire empire. Then he made a threatening gesture that sealed his fate forever and turned him into a viral symbol of everything wrong with unchecked wealth and privilege. If you have watched this far, don't miss the end of this video. Like the video, sit back, and enjoy, because what you are about to witness will be the most expensive threat in legal history. This billionaire's arrogance will cost him everything he values. Monday morning, 9 o'clock sharp at the Los Angeles Superior Court. Judge Judy's courtroom is already packed with spectators, many of whom have heard rumors about the billionaire defendant. The bailiff stands at attention and announces in a clear, authoritative voice, "The people of California versus Daniel David Wellington." Daniel strolls into the courtroom like he's walking into a country club he owns, his $15,000 suit immediately drawing attention. His 5 attorneys flank him like Secret Service agents guarding a president, their leather briefcases likely costing more than the average person's monthly rent. Judge Judy looks up from the bench with the legendary no-nonsense expression that made her famous, the look that says she has seen everything and is impressed by nothing. "Good morning, Mr. Wellington," she says with professional courtesy. Daniel barely glances in her direction. "Morning," he replies casually, as if addressing a valet parking attendant. "No, Your Honor, no formal respect. Just the dismissive ease of someone accustomed to special treatment." He scrolls through his phone, not bothering to make eye contact. Judge Judy's expression hardens instantly. "Mr. Wellington, I expect you to address this court properly and put that phone away immediately." Daniel sighs dramatically, like a teenager asked to do chores. "Fine, Your Honor," he says, dripping with sarcasm. He pockets the phone, but rolls his eyes so blatantly that people in the gallery gasp. Judge Judy's legendary patience is already being tested, and the hearing hasn't even officially begun. She has seen exactly who this man is and knows. This case will be memorable. She reviews the documents before her with the careful attention that has defined her decades on the bench. "Mr. Wellington, you are charged with felony assault causing serious bodily injury, wage theft, obstruction of justice, and attempted bribery of law enforcement officers. The complaint alleges that you violently attacked your 67-year-old housekeeper, Maria Gonzalez, causing her to fall down the stairs and suffer a broken hip, a broken wrist, and severe trauma. How do you plead?" Daniel smirks, the expression of someone who believes the entire proceeding is beneath him. "Your Honor, with all due respect, I think we're all wasting precious time here. This is a simple labor dispute that's been blown completely out of proportion by an employee with a questionable work ethic." The courtroom murmurs in disbelief. A labor dispute. Judge Judy's voice carries a subtle warning. "Mr. Wellington, you hospitalized a woman. She tripped." Daniel responds dismissively. "I was discussing performance issues with her, and she became dramatic and fell. It's unfortunate, but hardly my fault." Judge Judy leans forward slightly. "Performance issues. She was asking for 3 months of unpaid wages." Daniel shifts in his seat, clearly preparing what he believes is a compelling argument. "I pay my staff generously when they earn it." Maria's work had declined significantly. She was forgetting tasks and breaking expensive items. I was documenting her deficiencies before deciding whether to continue her employment. So instead of paying her the $18,000 she was owed, you pushed her down the stairs. Judge Judy's tone is measured but pointed. Daniel laughs, the sound condescending and dismissive. Judge Judy's eyes narrowed dangerously. She has heard outrageous statements from wealthy defendants before, but Daniel's casual dismissal of $18,000 as less than his monthly wine budget reveals everything about his character. "Mr. Wellington, your wine budget is irrelevant to these proceedings. I'm simply providing context, Your Honor. I employ 47 people across my properties. I pay more in household staff salaries than most small businesses generate in annual revenue. I understand labor relations better than most human resources departments." And yet, Judge Judy responds sharply. "You apparently don't understand basic labor law, human decency." Daniel's smile fades slightly, the first visible crack in his armor of confidence. "I understand that in the real world, economic contributors like myself are afforded a certain level of discretion when dealing with service staff issues." The courtroom buzzes with disbelief. Maria Gonzalez sits in the gallery, her arm in a cast, tears streaming down her face as she listens to her former employer describe her injuries as a service staff issue. Daniel hasn't glanced in her direction once during the entire proceeding. He seems completely unaware that his victim is even present. Or perhaps he simply doesn't care. Judge Judy pauses to study him carefully. She has seen entitled defendants before. But there is something especially disturbing about Daniel's total detachment from the reality of what he has done. "Mr. Wellington, I'd like to review the security camera footage from your residence. You do have extensive security systems, correct?" Daniel shifts uncomfortably for the first time. "I have standard security for properties of my value. yes standard. Judge Judy flips through the discovery documents. According to these reports, you have 47 cameras throughout your Manhattan penthouse. Let's watch what your standard security captured. Your Honor, I don't see how this is necessary. Daniel's voice carries a hint of concern. My attorneys and I are prepared to reach a settlement with Maria that will satisfy everyone involved and save the court valuable time. I'm not interested in your settlement offers, Judge Judy says firmly. I'm interested in the truth. Bailiff, roll the footage. Daniel exchanges worried glances with his attorneys. One of them half stands, preparing to object, but Daniel waves him off. He's still confident he can talk his way out of whatever the video shows. After all, he has talked his way out of everything else in his life. Why should this be any different? The monitors throughout the courtroom flicker to life, displaying high-definition footage from multiple angles. The timestamp reads 2:47 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Daniel's Manhattan penthouse appears on screen in all its opulent glory. Marble floors stretch across the frame. Priceless artwork lines the walls. Everything in view screams wealth and privilege. Then Maria appears, a small, elderly Latina woman in a housekeeping uniform, reproaching Daniel nervously. She wrings her hands as she gathers the courage to speak, clearly uncomfortable. The courtroom falls into absolute silence. As everyone watches the security footage unfold, Maria approaches Daniel timidly, her voice barely audible through the audio system. Mr. Wellington, I'm sorry to bother you, but it's been 3 months. I need my paycheck. My granddaughter needs medicine, and I can't afford to keep working without pay. Daniel doesn't even look up from his laptop. Maria, we've discussed this. Your performance has been substandard. But sir, you haven't paid me since April. I've worked every day. That's $18,000 you owe me by contract. Daniel snaps his laptop shut, the sound echoing through the penthouse. Contract. You want to talk about contracts? Have you read the section about satisfactory performance standards? Maria takes a small step backward, clearly frightened by his tone. The camera captures her body language perfectly. She's shrinking, trying to make herself smaller, less threatening. Daniel stands up, towering over the small elderly woman. You broke a $40,000 vase last month. You served coffee to my guests in chipped cups. You forgot to order my specific brand of imported sparkling water 3 times. The vase was an accident, sir. I apologized, and I've been working without pay. I need to feed my family. I need to pay rent. I need my wages. Daniel's voice rises with each word. You need? You need. Do you understand who you're talking to? I could hire 10 people to replace you before lunch. I could buy your entire apartment building and evict your whole family. Maria's voice trembles now. Please, sir. I just want what I earned. I have bills. My grandson needs his medication. He has asthma, and without his inhaler, he can't breathe properly. Your grandson is not my problem. Daniel snaps coldly. Your bills are not my problem. Your poverty is not my problem. What is my problem is staff who think they can make demands of me. The camera shows Maria taking another step back. She is now dangerously close to the top of the marble staircase leading down to the main foyer. Daniel advances toward her, his face twisted with rage. You know what your problem is, Maria? He says. You people from wherever you're from don't understand gratitude. I gave you a job. I let you work in a penthouse worth $45 million, and this is how you repay me. Sir, I'm grateful for the job, but I earned that money. If you don't pay me, I'm going to have to call the labor board. The moment those words leave Maria's mouth, something inside Daniel snaps. The camera captures it perfectly. His expression shifts from anger to pure rage. You'll call nobody. You'll do nothing, he screams. Then it happens, the moment that will destroy everything Daniel has built. The footage shows it from 3 different angles. It's crystal clear and impossible to deny. Daniel places both hands on Maria's shoulders and violently shoves her backward. Maria's face fills with terror as she loses her balance at the top of the stairs. Her arms flail wildly, searching for something, anything to grab onto. There is nothing. She tumbles down 14 marble steps in horrific slow motion. Her body slams into each step with sickening thuds that echo through the courtroom audio. Spectators gasp, cover their mouths, and turn away. One woman begins to cry. Maria comes to rest at the bottom of the staircase, her body twisted at an unnatural angle. She cries out in pain, unable to move. Her arm is bent the wrong way, clearly broken. Daniel remains at the top of the stairs. He does not rush to help. He does not call for assistance. Instead, he shouts down at her, "This is what happens when you threaten me." Nobody threatens Daniel Wellington. Do you understand me now? Do you understand your place? Maria sobs, begging for help. "Please, somebody help me. I can't move. It hurts so much. Please call an ambulance." Daniel pulls out his phone, but he doesn't dial 911. Instead, he calls someone else. "Davidson, I need you here immediately. We have a situation. One of the staff had an accident, and I need this contained before it becomes a public relations issue." Yes, an accident. She fell down the stairs. "Just get here and bring the crisis management team." He paces at the top of the staircase, completely ignoring Maria's cries for help. 5 full minutes pass on the video. 5 minutes where Maria lies at the bottom of the stairs in agony, while Daniel makes phone calls focused solely on damage control. Finally, his assistant arrives and calls the paramedics. When the emergency medical technicians rush in, they immediately go to Maria. "Sir, what happened here?" One EMT asks Daniel. "She fell. She's clumsy." Daniel replies without emotion. "She's always been clumsy. I've documented it." "Ma'am, can you tell us what happened?" The other EMT asks Maria gently. "He pushed me." Maria sobs through the pain. "He pushed me down the stairs because I asked for my paycheck." Daniel interrupts immediately. She's confused, probably hit her head in the fall. She's also about to be terminated for cause, so I take anything she says with considerable skepticism. She's angry about her performance review. The EMTs exchange uneasy glances, clearly uncomfortable with Daniel's version of events. Then 2 police officers arrive with the paramedics, and everything Daniel has tried to control is about to spiral. Completely out of his grasp, Officer Kim enters the penthouse and surveys the scene. "Sir, we need to ask you some questions about what happened here." "Officers, thank you for coming, but this is just an unfortunate workplace accident," Daniel says dismissively. "I don't want to waste your valuable time with something so trivial." Officer Rodriguez kneels beside Maria, who is being stabilized by the paramedics. "Ma'am, are you able to tell us what happened?" Maria looks up at the officer, tears streaming down her face. "He pushed me. I asked for my paycheck after 3 months of no payment, and he pushed me down the stairs." Officer Kim turns to Daniel with a serious expression. "Sir, that's a very serious allegation. I'm going to need you to come down to the station and answer some questions." Daniel actually laughs, the sound echoing through his expensive penthouse. "Officers, I appreciate your diligence, but let's be realistic here. This woman is upset about a performance review. She's making wild accusations because she knows she's about to be fired. Look, I don't want hardworking police officers wasting time on a domestic employment matter when you could be out there fighting real crime." Officer Rodriguez stands up from Maria's side. "Sir, the victim has injuries consistent with her account. We need to investigate this properly." Daniel pulls out his Walletan expensive leather piece that likely costs more than the officers' combined weekly salaries. Officers, let me ask you something. What do you gentlemen make annually? 70,000. 80,000. Officer Kim's expression hardens. Sir, that's not relevant to this investigation. Daniel pulls out a thick stack of $100 bills. I'm making it relevant. Here's $50,000 cash for each of you. Consider it a donation to the Police Benevolent Fund or your personal retirement accounts. I don't care what you call it. Let's mark this down as an accident in your report. And let's all move on with our day. He fans out the bills like he's displaying a winning poker hand. Sir, are you attempting to bribe police officers? Officer Rodriguez asks, his voice carefully controlled. Bribe? Don't be so dramatic. I'm a philanthropist. I donate to police charities all the time. Commissioner Harris and I play golf together twice a month at the country club. This is just civic appreciation for your service. Officer Kim pulls out his handcuffs. Sir, turn around and place your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for assault and attempted bribery of law enforcement officers. Daniel stares at them in absolute shock. Arrest? Do you idiots know who I am? I'm worth $3.2 billion. I donate more to the mayor's re-election campaign than you'll earn in your entire careers combined. Call Commissioner Harris right now. He'll straighten this out in 2 minutes. Judge Judy pauses the video. The courtroom is plunged into stunned silence. Several people are openly crying. Maria sobs in the gallery, forced to relive her trauma. Daniel, however, sits stone-faced at the defense table, checking his Patek Philippe watch as if he's merely waiting for a dull meeting to end. Mr. Wellington, Judy begins carefully. You have just watched yourself commit multiple felonies on camera. You assaulted an elderly woman, left her in agony for 5 minutes while you made phone calls about public relations, and then attempted to bribe police officers with cash. What do you have to say for yourself? Daniel straightens his expensive tie and sits upright with confidence. Your Honor, that footage requires context that camera angle simply cannot provide. Context? Judge Judy's voice could freeze water. I just watched you assault an innocent woman and attempt to bribe police officers. With respect, Your Honor, I believe you're viewing this through a lens that doesn't account for the complexities of high-level household management and employee relations. High-level household management. Judge Judy replies sharply. Mr. Wellington, you pushed a 67-year-old woman down the stairs. I made contact during a heated labor discussion. She lost her balance. The force was minimal. Any injuries she sustained were primarily due to her own lack of coordination. She has a broken hip and a broken wrist, Judge Judy says, her voice rising slightly. Daniel remains calm, apparently convinced he is making reasonable arguments. Your Honor, let me be frank with you. I manage a $40 billion hedge fund. I make decisions every day that affect pension funds for millions of Americans. I employ hundreds of people directly and thousands indirectly through my investments. I sit on the boards of 3 major hospitals, 2 prestigious universities, and a cancer research foundation working on treatments that could save countless lives. None of that gives you the right to assault anyone. Judge Judy states firmly. I'm not suggesting it does, Daniel replies. I'm suggesting that the lens through which you view this incident should account for who I am and what I contribute to society versus a housekeeper who was underperforming and making false accusations to avoid termination for cause. False accusations. Judge Judy responds. We just watched you commit those crimes on high-definition video from multiple angles. Daniel allows himself a condescending smile. Your Honor, with all due respect to your many years on the bench, you're looking at this from a very traditional, somewhat outdated perspective. In the world I operate in, at the level where real power and influence function, problems are solved differently, efficiently, quietly, through appropriate channels and with proper discretion. Judge Judy has clearly reached her limit. Her voice becomes stern and authoritative. Mr. Wellington, based on the video evidence, I am prepared to impose significant penalties that will teach you the difference between power and accountability. Daniel leans forward, his mask of civility finally cracking. Your Honor, before you make any decisions you might seriously regret, let me remind you that I have considerable resources and influence in this city. Judge Judy's expression turns to granite. Are you threatening this court, Mr. Wellington? I'm reminding you that I have relationships with people who matter, Daniel replies coldly. The mayor, the governor, 2 United States senators. I've donated $15 million to judicial campaigns over the past decade. My attorneys are the best money can buy, and they will appeal every decision you make today. Is that supposed to intimidate me? Judge Judy asks, her voice deadly calm. It's supposed to make you think carefully about the precedent you're setting and the powerful enemies you're making. Daniel stands up, his voice rising. I'm connected to every person of influence in this state. Do you understand what that means? Judge Judy rises as well, her voice cutting through the courtroom. Mr. Wellington, I've sat on this bench for 40 years. I've seen millionaires, celebrities, and powerful people try to intimidate me. It has never worked, and it will not work today. Sit down immediately. You're making a huge mistake. Daniel shouts, all pretense of civility gone. Do you know how many judges owe their positions to my donations? Do you know how connected I am? I own people like you. I could end your career with one phone call. Bailiff, Judge Judy commands. Daniel slams his hand on the defense table. You're a joke. This whole court is a joke. You're some small-time judge who thinks she has power over people like me. I'm Daniel Wellington III. My family built this city. You want to play this game? Fine, but you have no idea who you're dealing with. He points directly at Judge Judy's face, crossing every line of courtroom decorum. You're going to regret this. When I'm done with you, you'll be lucky to preside over parking tickets in some rural county nobody's ever heard of. I'm going to destroy you professionally and personally. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what happens to judges who forget their place. I'm going to ruin your reputation, your career, your legacy. By the time my attorneys are finished, you'll wish you had shown me the respect I deserve. Bailiff. Restrain the defendant now, Judge Judy orders. 3 bailiffs rush forward as Daniel continues screaming threats. His attorneys stand, desperately trying to calm him, but he shoves them aside. The courtroom erupts into chaos, people shouting, gasping in disbelief. Maria sobs in horror at the rage unfolding before her. It takes all 3 bailiffs to restrain Daniel. And even then, he continues shouting about his connections, his wealth, and his power. When the courtroom finally quiets, Judge Judy stands at the bench with an expression of controlled fury that seems to drop the temperature in the room. Mr. Wellington, she says, in 40 years on this bench, I have never been threatened in my own courtroom. I have seen entitled defendants. I have seen wealthy defendants. I have seen arrogant defendants. But I have never seen the level of contempt, cruelty, and corruption you have displayed here today. You assaulted an elderly woman who served you faithfully for 8 years. You've stolen her wages. You've attempted to bribe law enforcement. You've shown zero remorse. And now you've threatened a sitting judge, Mr. Wellington. You're about to learn the most expensive lesson of your billionaire life, for felony assault causing serious bodily harm. I sentence you to the maximum penalty of a $50,000 fine and 2 years in state prison. For wage theft in the amount of $18,000, you are ordered to pay Maria Gonzalez $180,000, 10 times what you stole, plus her full medical expenses, past and future. For attempted bribery of police officers, an additional $100,000 fine, and 1 additional year in prison. And for contempt of court due to your threatening behavior toward this judge, I impose an immediate fine of $500,000 and an additional 2 years in prison. Daniel's face shifts from red with rage to pale with shock. 5 years total, but Judge Judy isn't finished. She pauses, letting the weight of her words settle over the courtroom. Mr. Wellington, you told me you donate to judicial campaigns. You bragged about your influence over judges and politicians. You threatened to end my career. So I am going to make absolutely certain that every judge, every law enforcement agency, and every regulatory body in this country knows exactly who you are and what you've done. I ordered this entire proceeding, every word spoken, every piece of video evidence, and every document to be forwarded immediately to the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the FBI Public Corruption Unit, the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation Division, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, the State Attorney General's Office, and every hospital and university board on which you sit, as well as your hedge funds, investors, and board of directors. Your Honor, you can't involve federal agencies, Daniel stammers, his arrogance finally collapsing. This is a state matter. You're destroying my career over a workplace dispute. Oh, I can and I am, Judge Judy replies. Because, Mr. Wellington, you destroyed your own career the moment you decided that $3.2 billion exempted you from basic human decency, from the law, and from consequences. As bailiffs move in to take Daniel into custody, his phone begins buzzing uncontrollably in his pocket. Board members are watching the live stream. Investors panic as the footage goes viral. News alerts spread across the internet. His empire collapses in real time within 6 hours. Wellington Capital Management loses $8 billion in investor withdrawals. By morning, Daniel Wellington III is no longer the chief executive of anything. He is inmate number 847,392. Sometimes the most expensive. Mistakes are the ones no amount of money can ever fix. If you enjoyed this story of justice prevailing over wealth and privilege, support it by liking the video and subscribing to Judge Judy Stories if you haven't already. My loyal viewers, see you in the next video. Stay healthy.